Welcome to another episode of The Relationship Theory. Here we take difficult emotions and we talk them out like they are a regular conversation. Tonight, discernment. I just have to take a swing at this word because I can tell you that I have struggled with hearing this word. I've struggled with seeing this word and understanding what it really means. And I'm sorry, social media, but when I see all of these words and these breakdowns, it really causes me to overthink what a word means. Discernment doesn't mean what I think it means because there are so many words to explain and describe what it is. It's like intuition, so you cannot just throw the word at me. I have a better time understanding instinct than intuition. But discernment, never so simple, is it? I could even ask, what is the difference between discernment and intuition? But we won't get into that. This video, we will be talking about discernment. So I decided, since I struggle with understanding the definition, is to take a swing at this myself. I would like to present something to you as known as my own definition of discernment, please. Let me do the honors. Inner clarity displaying proper resolution towards the external. That's my attempt. You have inner clarity that displays a resolution, almost like a TV, towards the external. The external what doesn't matter. You have inner clarity about it, which means it's contextual, not conceptual. Discernment ought not to be a concept. Please. It really ought not to be. It's discernment. It's almost like a body part. If you ask me, discernment ought to be a body part. It ought to be something that you can find within you, that you can take out of a human body and say, oh, this is discernment. But it ought not to be a concept. The way people talk about it, it ought not to be philosophical. If I'm in danger and you're asking me to use my discernment, why do I need to think about how beautiful the world is and how lovely, and think of nature? In a discernment, you're probably asking me to pay attention to something not necessarily so immediately, but definitely within the next day or so. I might need the discernment then. So inner clarity displaying proper resolution towards the external. It's contextual. I need to know through context, rather than what you're telling me, how to pay attention to what I'm paying attention to, or if I'm not paying attention to it, what ought to bring to me the right things to pay attention to. Discernment's going to help me do that. And I have inner clarity that, like a TV channel, if I'm looking for the input selection that gives me 1080p rather than 720p and will only work with my device on 1080p, I probably want to select the input that is 1080p so that I could use my device and not a 720p input for a device that isn't even on that channel. That's discernment to me. And then I get to see what's on the screen. That is discernment to me. That's discernment to me, if you ask me. If you ask me, that's what discernment is. So there is my swing. And then how useful is discernment? How useful is inner clarity towards the external? If all it's doing is giving me a proper resolution, well, what that might mean is discernment allows me to see something I didn't see clearly. Not that it wasn't there, it allows me to see the thing. I could look at something with a haze in my eyes. I could be gazing at something rather than looking at it for what it is. Discernment allows me to stop gazing. Discernment allows me to remove the haze. Discernment is much like a windshield wiper for the rain, the snow. Not that I'm on a road, because I could use the windshield wiper. I just don't need to be driving at the same time. Were I driving is a different story. Discernment nonetheless. Windshield wiper. So same here. No haze, no gaze. Just to see, just to observe. It's clear. I have perspective. I have words that I can use that come to mind much easier now because I didn't see what I saw before and used different words to describe the thing. Discernment could also be that the way I describe the things in my life to give me a definition that I might live by, a different way to describe it so that the definition might change to something that I would actually attune to, be a bit more attuned to and move it around in my mind so that it's where I would like it to be, where I'm aware of what it actually was. Discernment ought to allow me to know what something actually is so that I don't be surprised about what it actually is and just simply know that what it actually is what I have and had known. Discernment is not dangerous. The qualities it allows me to observe might give me that word for the thing I'm observing, but not necessarily making me a dangerous person simply because I know how to wipe my eyes. And yet you might have people who accuse you of wiping your eye. Your response ought to be to get your own windshield wiper then. They might even be the kind of people to wipe their eye with a pick. They might be the kind of people to wipe their eye with a comb rather than a cloth or their fingers. They might be the kind of people to use a tool, something other than what is naturally available to them, natural to their body type, natural to their awareness, to their being, that causes them to wipe their eye unnaturally. But discernment is what allows all of this to take place. You see that the context is no longer conceptual. It's not a conversation you're having with other people. The inner clarity is coming through, allowing you to discuss what you need to discuss, not with anyone else, because you aren't even on the same channel anyways, but merely with yourself. Your thoughts are not ruminations, out loud ruminations. They are internal observations, cues, points, understandings, knowings, identifications, indicators of what you need in your life to put in its proper place, to categorize properly. That is what I believe discernment is. If you have your own personal take on discernment, I would love to hear it in the description box below. But that is what I believe discernment is, and that is this episode of The Relationship Theory. Enjoy your night.